Hello everyone, Mrhappy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mrhappy, aka Mrhappy Mondays, the weekly Q&A show where you guys ask me questions and I answer them. So there's a bit of a storm outside. I've already lost power twice, so here's to hoping that I don't lose power while recording this. We've got like 4 pages worth of questions over on the Dream Network forum, so I'm going to hop right into those. Thank you everyone for asking your questions as per usual. Let's see if we can do a speed run of them like we did last week and get like a ton of questions answered. Let's just get started right away so we can try and answer as many as possible. Alright, first question. Hey Happy, repost from week 41. This is a short but strange question. Is the area tree speak in North Shroud pronounced trees or Trey's Peak, the end of a tree not stuck in the ground, or tree speak, the Arctic conversing with Flora? It's probably tree speak. I mean, you'd have to ask Koji Fox, but that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with tree speak because that's what it looks like and sounds like to me in my head. Next question. Hey, Happy. Loving this weekly show. Glad you're enjoying it. Very quick question. Where is the Warrior of Light, essentially us as the players, from? We are referred to as an outsider when we first start playing the game, but where exactly are we from? Have we got this info anywhere? No, I think that's pretty much just left up to mystery. I mean, some of us reside back from all the way back in 1.0, but even then, I started in Limsolo Mints, I'm pretty sure, on my first character back in 1.0, so I know I was on a boat being attacked by a sea creature, and I don't know where I was coming from or where I was going to, but it's never really alluded to, at least not that I'm aware of. There's only so many places we could be from. I mean, Eorzea is pretty off to the side of everything. Yeah, I have no idea where we come from, man. Sorry. Next question. Ninja questline spoilers below. Okay, so funny thing is, last week, people pointed out I forgot to do this twice. I actually did it and accidentally edited it out of the video. So, Ninja questline spoilers ahead, just so you know. Hey Happy, I was finishing up the Ninja questline a couple days back, only Black Mage left in all classes at 50, where you fight Gekai and he uses the lost 4th Mudra. The question is, do you think we will ever use it, and what new abilities could you see getting added with it? I doubt it. People already complain enough as it is that 3 Mudras fits into the global cooldown way too much, especially if you have any lag. I sincerely doubt they'll ever add this lost 4th Mudra. I don't even necessarily think it's lost, it's also forbidden. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's not just lost. I'm pretty sure it's also a forbidden 4th Mudra. So I sincerely doubt our character will ever bother using it. And besides, it would either have to be really, really underwhelming and just visually cool, or way too overpowered, because the way he uses it wouldn't make sense. Like, our character would never be able to use it the same way his character uses it. So we're probably never going to use that. Next question. Hello, Mrhappy. A question for week 43. If I pre-ordered the NA version of Heavensward while my current version is EU, can I still play the game? I'm pretty sure an NA copy of Heavensward will not work on an EU version of the original game. I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I don't know for certain that the game is region locked or not, depending on where you buy it. But considering they had to separately tell us where NA, EU, what versions were going to be available, I'm pretty sure you would need to get the EU version of the game if you wanted to upgrade your currently EU copy. But I would hope somebody can comment on that below the video for clarification, because I'm honestly not 100% sure. Next question. Question for week 42. How do you feel about the new healer abilities in Heavensward? White Mage is getting the ability to heal in DPS and getting insta-heals, both Scholar strengths. Scholar is getting better AoE heals, White Mage strength, and Astrologian is a Scholar White Mage fusion. Filia is getting too close to having 3 of the same healer rather than each one having their own forte. Each of them still has their own forte. I mean, Scholar still has the strongest barriers. White Mages still have the most consistent heal over time and very powerful direct heals outside. Because you got to remember, White Mage is getting a few abilities they'll use on occasion, but their kit, what they specialize in, remains the same. They're just getting a few abilities to deal with those rare situations where you need that little bit of extra protection or the little bit of extra heal over time. Or that extra damage over the course of a fight while still outputting some heals. Scholar, on the other hand, is getting some more direct heals, but they're also getting, cooldowns. They're not like getting a consistent direct heal, and they're getting what, the AoE heal with the use of their ether flow stacks. I'd say that adds a little bit more strategic diversity, and especially it feels like it's more appropriate to the duty finder, because unless they make it so that White Mages or Astrologians healing doesn't scale with anything, like it ends up not being enough, like just a Medica 2 or a Cure 3 not being enough, and you need that extra Scholar AoE healing, it's not like Scholars are going to magically start going out of their way to use it. It'll be something that'll be more useful, like if you're in the Duty Finder and you get a double Scholar comp or a Scholar Shield Astrologian composition. Because you have to remember, Astrologian can't switch between their forms in combat. You have to decide ahead of time. Do I want to have an additional heal over time added to my direct healing spells? Which is the difference also. Astrologian gets a dot, or excuse me, a heal over time added to their spells when they're in Diurnal Sect. When they're in Nocturnal Sect, they get a shield, but both of them aren't as efficient as White Mage or Scholars. So they have a little bit more versatility in terms of what role they're able to fulfill, but they also fulfill that role in a way that doesn't completely neglect the need for the other two healing jobs. They definitely are a lot more similar now, and holy hell, the rain is starting to come down. I'm really afraid of losing power. I think it's still good. They're still going to all feel like they play completely different, despite the fact they are able to achieve similar things now. I'm actually going to stop recording every few questions just to make sure I don't lose the footage, since the weather is getting really, really bad here. Next question. Hey, Mr. Happy. Thanks for answering my question from last week. Anyway, my question for week 42. You mentioned that you never really liked skill trees in games. I know I've hated them myself, especially whenever Rift would reset my level 50 trees and left Lord of the Rings shortly after their introduction. You also mentioned that you thought Square Enix would remove skills before adding trees. My question is, hypothetically, if you had to choose skills to remove from classes in order to avoid this, which skills would you choose for the class and why? To be honest, I can't give you a good answer to that, because Square Enix almost does too good of a job making all of their skills as useful as possible, you know, minus a handful that aren't that useful. But most of the abilities on your bar, you can find a use for them, whether it be PvP or PvE. They generally have a reason to exist. So it'd be kind of weird to remove abilities. It would probably be more along the lines of replacing old abilities with new abilities, so that way you're not adding necessarily more things to the bar. Like Stone 3 may potentially just completely replace Stone 2 as your go-to damage attack as a Scholar, as White Mage, excuse me, for single targets. Which is the better way of doing it. I mean, then it makes Stone 2 kind of pointless, and at that point you kind of just wish they'd have added a trait called Enhanced Stone or something like that, as opposed to even adding a new ability. But eventually they can't just keep adding new abilities to the jobs. They either need a skill tree where some of the abilities stay with one role and some of them stay with the other, which is a potential thing Yoshi P may do, or they need to remove skills entirely. I just feel like they're more akin to remove skills entirely and completely rework rotations than to just keep adding new skills and then to throw a skill tree on top of it. Next question. Hey, Happy, a nice Monday to you. A nice Monday to you as well. I mean, Black Mage, and I'll probably be playing Dark Knight when Heaven's Word comes, but the job I'm really waiting for is Samurai. Think Square Enix will give us a new job between 3.0 or 4.0, just like with Ninja? No. Yoshi P has made it very clear we should not expect that very often. The Samurai was supposed to be in Heaven's Word, but they traded it out for Dark Knight. Also, Samurai was originally supposed to be a tank, and Yoshi P himself feels that it would be better off being a DPS. We probably won't see the Samurai for a very long time. There's a lot of jobs a lot of people want, and to be honest, just don't expect it to be like it was in Final Fantasy XI. That's the one thing I always tell people. Just don't expect it to be like it was in Final Fantasy XI. Even if they do eventually make it a DPS, it's not going to be the same thing. I kind of still want it to be a tank. But at this point, we have 3 tanks. Go for another DPS. Just don't expect it between 3.0 and 4.0. Next question. Hey man, repost from week 41. Have there been any talks about being able to use more than one piece of glamour with one item? Being without this feature is a problem for me, and I'll give an example of why. I've glamored the gear for my Black Mage to look like a classic Black Mage, but my summoner used the same gear and it doesn't look right. You know, I'm pretty sure that they've said that they were working on a system that it just saved it to the current gear set and not to the actual piece of armor that it was equipped to. I'd have to find a source on that, but I'm pretty sure that is something they're working on, because you're not the only one who's having that issue. Like I said, I don't have a source for it right this second, but I feel like I've heard that before. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to say maybe. I'm going to give you a resounding maybe. Next question. What's happening, Haps? Question for week 42. Won't make you say the whole thing this time, but different question for this week. Last week, a question was asked about being able to make choices and not being a dumb follower. As a response, you answered about games such as Mass Effect. My personal favorite game, alongside from Zelda's and Final Fantasies. Did you beat the Mass Effect trilogy? No, I only played Mass Effect 3 because I just didn't have time for Mass Effect 1 and 2. And Mass Effect 3's ending was pointless, so... And even after they patched it, it was still pointless. So, yeah. Also, I don't have an all-time favorite game, because that's your next question. I don't have a top 5 or a top 3. I honestly don't. I like games. I don't have a favorite game of all time. I don't have a top 3 or a top 5. I can only tell you my favorite Final Fantasy is 6. Other than that, I don't have like a tier list of best games I've ever played. Next question. Hi, Happy. Love the videos. Keep them up. Thank you. Got 2 questions. We'll try to keep them short. Possible spoilers ahead. Not taking any chances. And this time I know I didn't do the thumbs up for the ninja one. I just told you it's going to be spoilers. So yeah. Anyway. So I'm currently with the Immortal Flames. So I don't really want to be in the bad and untrustworthy Grand Company due to the main story. My question is, do you think that the Immortal Flames can make a recovery through the expansion so it is trust again? My character can be part of a decent Grand Company. So it's a very role-play-ish question. To be honest, it's not the Immortal Flames that are untrustworthy. It's mostly the Brass Blades and the Crystal Braves that are untrustworthy. Sure, I'm sure there's corruption in all of the city-states. There's Uldaz, like was the center point of a lot of the transgressions. I'm sure it's not like you're like the Immortal Flames are the only bad Grand Company. Just the only one that we've had direct relations with, the thing that's been brought to our attention the most. And now we have a non-spoiler question. Also, what do you think is the best glamour for an all-around healer? I'm not a big glamour guy. I honestly I like when armor looks good, but I'm generally somebody who just wants to wear the best armor that's available in the game. I prefer armor because to me armor is not a super big necessity. It's more of a status symbol. Like, wow, I got this loot from turn 13. I got this loot from turn 11. You know, it's got more of a story to it. Whereas with the glamour, for me, it's like, oh, that looks cool. Or that's funny. Or something like that. And it's like, it's fun to play with from time to time, but I don't like mess with glamours at all. Like, I glamour 1 or 2 pieces, and then I have my chocobo glamour because I thought it would look funny, and it's actually become a really funny thing with me. But honestly, I would rather be wearing the full armor so that I'm just too lazy to undo my glamours, to be honest. Next question. Hi, Mr. Happy. Greetings from Brazil. First time here. Soldiery bonus. He knows. I happen to be colorblind too, and for that I end up abandoning my passion for being a tank. I can't tell the difference from Tirana and Soprano thread colors on Garuda Hard. Question, do you think Square Enix will implement a colorblind option like WoW did and some other games did to help us out? Honestly, I am colorblind. I learned to recognize things. Square Enix, instead of making mechanics recognizable by color alone, they generally have patterns to them that, you know, different appearances outside of color. Like with Tirana and Soprano, one of them is really wavy and the other one is just a flat line. So that's how I'm able to tell the difference between them. The golems in turn 9, you know, some of them have broader shoulders, some of them have no shoulders. So they may eventually do the colorblind option, but it seems like they're more focused on making other visual differences or designing fights with other visual differences in mind so that that is not the issue. That, oh, they're the same color, so I can't tell. It's like, oh, this one has broader shoulders, this one doesn't. And that's the way that you end up being able to tell the difference between mechanics. Next question. Hey, Mr. Happy, I have a very specific lore question for week 42. I heard about the rumors of a naked Filia during the tour of Ishgard that Yoshida gave us. Yeah, that was a debug thing. They had a lot of NPCs there, and that's not even confirmed as far as I know that there was a naked Filia there. That was just kind of the joke going around. It was definitely a Filia people saw. I don't really know about the whole naked thing. I think that was just a joke that Yoshi P was trying to keep it hidden. While anyone else might not give a second look, do you think it's possible Filia actually did die, lost her body, had her soul captured, and finally revived in a new but exact body, hence... No, I think you're looking way, way too deep into that. And I look way too deep into certain things. That is way too deep. That is debugging. It's not final. I think all they were trying to prevent us from seeing is that Filia could potentially still be alive. And she probably is still alive. She's the only scion that, like, you know, we don't actually see potentially in a lot of danger. So I think you're looking a little bit too deep into it. I don't think there's really anything to look at there. Other than maybe her boobs, but that's only if she was naked. Anyway, next question. Hey, Mr. Happy, question for week 42. I was wondering what your opinion on the matter of when exactly they will be changing the current party composition from 4 and 8 man to 5 and 10. The reason I ask is with the incorporation of more new jobs, I feel 4 and 8 man parties will simply not be enough to involve enough of the jobs. On another note, simply going to a 5-person party. 1 tank, 1 healer, 3 DPS would really help alleviate the current issue with DPS having such long queue times. I mean, the bottom line is there will still be a shortage of tanks at some point or another. Even with Dark Knight and Astrologian coming, at some point, there will still be a shortage of tanks and healers. It's just normal. World of Warcraft, I've had long queue times in as a DPS. I've had 6 to 12 to 18-minute queue times as a DPS, and they have 1, 1, and 3, with way more people playing, mind you. I think that it wouldn't happen until at least 4.0, if at all. I think they may just design more content for larger parties, as opposed to changing it from 4 and 8 to 5 to 10. They may just make more large-scale content, maybe even 16-man content. Of course, the hardest content will probably stick to 4 to 8, but the general rule of thumb that they want to enforce is not that you need to have every single different job in every single different raid. That'll never happen. They just want you to have a choice, a playstyle choice. Do I prefer the look and the aesthetic and the animations and the utility of this job over the other ones, while still making it so the content can be cleared with any sort of composition. If they do it at all, it would be in 4.0, and I would honestly like to see it, because not only that, even if they didn't do 3 DPS, Yoshi P has mentioned hybrid jobs in the past. They would need a 5-man party, a 5 or 10-man party, in order to include hybrid jobs as a possibility at all. So that's where I really get my idea that they'll up it to 5 and 10, but I wouldn't expect that anytime soon. Not until at least another 2 years from now. Next question. Question for you, Mr. Happy, related to endgame ninja rotation. I watched your videos. It helped a lot when I was progressing through Final Coil. My question is, in longer fights, I have tough decisions to make when Huton is 15 seconds left. My Mudra is available, but Kasatsu is not, and Trick Attack is available. Would you cast Huton and wait another round till Kasatsu is back? Or would you Raiton and live with no Huton for a couple of seconds? It sounds like you're losing track of your own ninjutsu usage, because that shouldn't happen. If you do your opener correctly, they should generally be up at the same time, or Kasatsu should be coming up just before Trick Attack comes up. There shouldn't be that big of a disparity between your Kasatsu cooldown and your Trick Attack cooldown, and Huton with 15 seconds left. Like, that might happen during your opener. You might have, you know, your tank might pull like a couple of seconds late, and it might cause you to, you know, end up getting a late Raiton or a late Fuma, and end up having to, you know, go a couple of seconds without Huton, or having to re-Huton earlier. There's a lot of things that can go into it. But this situation sounds very unlikely, unless you're in a situation where you're forgetting to use your ninjutsu as soon as it's available, and you're prioritizing other things over it. In this situation, with 15 seconds left, you'd probably be best off just, let's see, let me read again. But Kasatsu is not, and Trick Attack is available. Would you cast Huton and wait another round till Kasatsu is back? Well, yeah, because you would want, your Kasatsu and your Trick Attack should always line up. There's almost no situation where that won't be the case, unless you're slowing down your the rate at which you go through your ninjutsu. That's the only way that should happen. So that's really all I can say. You'd probably end up in this situation 15 seconds. You'd probably end up Hutoning, because by the time you finish using Huton, there'll be about 12 seconds left. And then you would go for the Kasatsu Trick Attack on the next time around. Well, the Suiton Trick Attack, Kasatsu, Raiton, or Fuma on the next go around. Next question, and there's no longer rain pounding on my window, thank God. Hey, Mr. Happy, I have a question about being a bard. I usually don't play DPS, but I figured I should have at least one of each role in case they're needed. Good on you for doing that. I chose bard because it's always been one of my favorite jobs in the Final Fantasy. While I know what I should be doing, I simply have a hard time keeping track of everything that goes on while in a fight. Since you used to be a bard in your static, I was wondering if you could provide any help. Also, do summoners need foes, and is it worth me using it when there's only one black mage in the party, assuming we're equally geared skilled? Sorry, I just realized that I lied, and I actually had 2 questions. You really just, if you're having trouble with tunnel vision, you need to put some of your hotbars closer to the middle of your screen, it sounds like. Something that tracks Bloodletter and Misery's End, something that tracks your buffs. It just sounds like you need things more centralized in the middle of the screen. I sort of do that. I moved them a little bit farther down now that I'm a little bit more comfortable with the jobs that I play. But if you're brand new and that's what's happening, you're tunnel visioning on the boss and the mechanics, and you're not seeing the buffs as they come up, you just need to migrate more of your buttons closer to the middle of your screen, or wherever your eyes are focused on the screen. That's the best advice I could give with that. As for foes, summoners do benefit from foes, and the general rule of thumb with foes is, does anybody need Payon or Ballad? No. Are we going to need it soon? No. I opened the fight with a full MP bar worth of foes. Do you guys need it? No. Okay, I'll foes again. Do you guys need Payon for 30 seconds? Sure, I'll run that. Then when I get some MP back, I'll run foes again. It's pretty much as long as you don't need Ballad or Payon for any reason, you'll just use foes. As long as you have somebody that's dealing magic damage, a black mage or a summoner, your healers should generally be throwing out at least a little bit of DPS, even if it's like a non-cleric stance Fluidor as a white mage, or, you know, a couple of dots every once in a while as a scholar. They benefit from it too, especially if you're trying to finish off a boss or zerg down the final percentages of a boss as well. Next question. Hey, Mr. Happy, thank you for answering my question from week 41. I have another one. I know that this has already been discussed a lot, and you respond to this question a lot of times, and I'm sure you can be sure I'm totally aware about when is going to come the new Relic. but there's something I don't understand. Are the new relics the ones we saw on the live letters, benchmark, Dragon's? We don't know. We don't know exactly where those weapons are coming from. There's no guarantee that those are the new ones, because the new ones don't come till patch 3.1. So there's no guarantee. Those, we've seen ironworks in the benchmark. We've seen probably some of the dungeon related ones. We've probably seen some of the early level 60 ones, but I don't think any of those are the relics. It's 3.0, as far as we're concerned. There's, I guess we're not really sure there's no relic in 3.0. We know that you won't be able to quote unquote grow a weapon similar to the Zodiac weapon questline until 3.1. There's been no confirmation of any sort of similar relic questline in 3.0 at all. So at this very moment, I'm not expecting there to be one. Just no sort of relic growth until 3.1. I asked this in order, people, and they didn't know what to respond. Some people even said that those aren't relics. I'm going to assume those aren't relics, to be honest, because we won't see those till 3.1. It'd be pretty bad for them to tease that and then have that weapon unavailable in the 3.0 launch. So, oh, that's the question. Okay, thank you. I'm going to move on to the next one. Next question. Hey, Haps, been watching a long time, but not one to comment, talk, and streams. I have 2 quick questions. Thank you for coming by, man. I'm a Scholar main with 635 crit. Holy mother of pearl. Is that too much? Hell no, that ain't too much. You're a Scholar. I applaud you for somehow getting it to that high, even if it is with a little bit of crafted gear. But damn, you probably are seeing some diminishing returns at that point. I think once you start seeing over the 600 mark, you start getting diminishing returns. But damn. I'm going to say it does. First of all, it doesn't matter because all your gear is going to get replaced in a month anyway. So just revel in your 635 crit for now. And the second question is, what is your opinion on merking? 2 static groups, including mine and myself, started selling clears of coil turns, and it's been making us tons of money. It's also been getting us some hate from people. So merking's been around in MMOs for 20 years. I did it in 11. I've done it in 14 in the past. I've done it in WoW. I've done it in pretty much every MMO I've spent a significant amount of time on. It's something that's been around in MMOs, and it's not going anywhere. Some people choose to do this. Now, the one major concern people do have with merking is that they feel that there's no way anybody could afford the prices that are being put forth. That the people who are buying are generally just buying things from RMT. And from my experience, I've seen a lot of mercs both in Final Fantasy 11, in WoW, and 14. And generally, these aren't people who are buying gold. These are people who spend all of their time crafting or gathering or doing desynthesis or just making money in some way. They're generally hardcore crafters that are purchasing these things, or hardcore guild or money makers. And then they just don't have content, and they want something for glamour, they want a title, or they want a piece of gear so they can get better gear for whatever reason. But it's been around for a long time. It's not going to go anywhere. You know, that's my take on it. It's okay to not like it. Because that's your opinion. It's just that my opinion is it's not going anywhere. There's always going to be a market for it. You just have to be careful about who your customers are, because you can get in trouble if you're not careful. If you buy from suspicious people who are like, how much is it? All right, I'll have that gil in 5 hours. It's like, you'll have that gil in 5 hours? Are you sure that's not because that's how long it takes for the RMT to get to you? Those people, you generally are like, no. Never mind. I don't think we should do business together. But yeah, it's just gonna be around forever. So just some people like it, some people hate it. Next question. Yo. Hey Haps, question for you. I'm on Ragnarok, which is an EU server. I know they are adding EU data centers for the EU servers. I am based stateside, and so are my friends. We were hoping that with them adding new data centers, they would allow free or cheap character transfers to a server based in the States. Yeah, they're definitely going to do that. It would be ridiculous if they didn't do that. I'm pretty, because they did that when, okay, so in 1.0, all the servers were in Japan, regardless of where you played. So EU, NA had the same problem that just EU has now. And when A Realm Reborn came out, for people that wanted to move to a server that was located in North America, it was free. I would be shocked if they didn't do the same thing here with Europe. That would just, I would be in shock. That's just the bottom line. I know there's a lot of people that are probably going to stay on the NA servers, even though, you know, EU is getting its own ones, just because they've developed relationships with the people there. But I would be shocked if they didn't give a free transfer to the people who did want to make use of the new data centers. Next question. Hey, yo! Question for week 42. I've noticed there's a lot of jokes about Duty Finder in this game, but I cleared my way to turn 10, one-shotting everything up until turn 9, which only took a couple of tries. Why do I have a feeling the next sentence is going to say that you're on a Japanese Duty Finder server? Granted, I play on a Japanese server. That's the difference. So there's a difference in playstyle. The American servers and the European servers, they use the duty finder to practice and the party finder to get wins. Japanese servers generally use the party finder for practice and the duty finder for clears. So their clear rate in the duty finder is way higher. And just generally, Japanese players are so much more attentive and they're so much better at communicating via text only. It's very standard for Japanese players to have a macro of the entire fight. And that just makes it a whole lot easier. People just do their job and that's it. There are rage quits over on the Japanese servers. There is flaming over on the Japanese servers, but it's honestly because they're so used to having such a high clear rate that when people screw it up, they're even more pissed than people who are on the duty finder in America and fail it over and over and over and over again. So yeah, it's a massive cultural difference from the Japanese duty finder to the American duty finder. That's why you hear a lot of jokes about it. Friends don't let friends duty finder. Next question. Hi, Mr. Happy. Longtime listener to all your videos, especially 14. Really enjoy all your posts. Thank you, man. Question. I have a single job at 50, Bard, and I have a few others around 20. I have finished the story and been grinding tomes to get my gear updated. The new job I'm interested in is Machinist. Will the new jobs make us start at level 1, or will they be branched from an existing job? Okay, no. So here's how it's going to work. You need to have finished the main story on your character to unlock either Machinist, Dark Knight, or Astrologian. They have no base class, they start at level 30, and they just pull from cross classes. They are their own jobs, they do not branch off of a base class at all. So you're going to walk into Ishgard, you're going to go to the Machinist Guild, you're going to be like, hey, I want to be a Machinist. And they're going to be like, cool, here, you can be a Machinist. You're level 30 now, here's a gun, go have fun. And then you'll have cross-class skills. You'll need to make sure that you have Blood for Blood on your Lancer. Honestly, as a level 50 Bard, you should have level 34 Lancer to have Blood for Blood. I would consider that mandatory on top of Invigorate. And as a Bard, you also definitely need to... Oh, well, you know, Pugilist is all pretty low-level stuff. You know, Internal Release, Second Wind. King Flurry is really good on Lancer as well. For Machinist, you're going to need... You already have all the cross-class skills you're going to need from Archer, which are going to be Hawkeye, Raging Strikes, and Quelling Strikes. And then from Lancer, you're again going to need Invigorate and Blood for your Machinist. So I'd recommend you get your Lancer to 34, but that's all you need to know. Machinist is going to start at level 30. Start saving up your level 30 to 50 gear because you're going to need that before you get over to Heavensward to speed things up. Next question, Mr. Happy. On a scale of 0 to 10, you're a 9, and I'm the one you need. Now the ice has been broken. Oh yeah, there's definitely broken ice somewhere. I have a question about Alexander progression and a mini question. With Alexander normal being around a casual difficulty, just for those of you who don't know, it's rated to be coil with echo. A lot of people then ask first, second, or third coil with echo. Just coil with echo. We'll go with that. Don't you fear Alexander Savage will lack something story-wise that we've always had so far in the Binding Coil, namely the unknown? Hear me out. In the past, when you finally beat a boss after weeks or months of training, you finally get to see a new cutscene and another small part of the story will unfold. In Heavensward, however, with Alexander normal showing the complete story and all cutscenes before you even enter Savage, don't you think they will take away part of the magical journey while training for the Savage raids? All there will be left to look out for, loot is to look out for. Am I missing something? What is your take? That's the point. Alexander Savage is for people that enjoy difficult content. Alexander Normal is designed for people who want to get their weekly gear and enjoy story. That is the differential. If you do not enjoy hardcore, difficult content, you probably not touch Alexander Savage regardless. Similar to what happened with Savage Second Coil. There were people that were not motivated because there was no loot from it. Even if they wanted a challenge, the fact that there was no loot, no way to progress their character, was what kept a lot of people away from it. And then some people didn't care because there was no story attached to it. The people that don't want to do that content for that reason won't. So they'll do Alexander normal, and then they might give Savage a try, but generally a lot of people... And the thing is, you really don't need statics for anything other than Alexander Savage anymore. Because Alexander normal is I guess you should probably have a group of 8 people capable of doing it, you know, without having to rely on the duty finder. But, I mean, it's gonna be really easy. Like, not so easy that, like, it's not gonna be like World of Darkness easy. But Yoshi P said he fully expects everyone to... Well, not everyone. All of the top tier progression free companies and raid groups to clear Alexander normal the day it comes out. Like, that's the level of difficulty we're talking about here. Whereas Savage, he expects it to be a long drawn out process because there's not going to be crafted gear. You're going to have limited amounts of gear available to you at the start. There's going to be a lot of things gating you from making immediate progression and meeting those HP and damage checks. So Savage is for people who want a challenge. Normal is for people who want the story. That's all there is to it. Oh, and the mini question, I almost forgot. Do you think we will be able to solo duo farm the primal ponies without any level sync? Yeah, they already confirmed that if you use the new, because they confirmed there's a feature that lets you enter a duty with less than the required number of people and without an item level sync. That was confirmed several months ago, but it was reconfirmed on the forums about a week ago. Yeah, assuming that they don't have a mechanic that you need at least 3 people to do. Like Titan Extreme, when he double jails you with 2 people, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? So yeah, you'll be able to do that, no problem, as long as you can actually beat the fight. Next question. Hey Happy, I play the Windows version of 14 currently, but would rather play on Linux or Mac when the expansion comes out, and thus the Mac version of the game. Will I need to buy a Mac version? Yes, you will. Unfortunately, in this day and age, you pretty much have to have licensing for anything and everything. It's kind of annoying because it means that, like, if you wanted to play on both Windows and Mac, not only would you need the Mac version of the game and the Mac version of Heavensward, but you'd also need the Windows version of Heavensward. So, yeah, you're gonna need to do that. It's pretty annoying licensing with the internet the way it is nowadays, isn't it? Yeah, pretty annoying. Alright, this video has gone on a lot longer than I expected to, just because there's so many crazy questions here, and these questions are a lot longer than the previous week, so I'm going to skim through another 3 questions. There's a lot of questions here I haven't gotten to look at, so apologies ahead of time, but 3 more questions, and then I'm going to be done for this video. Hey, Mr. Happy1227, aka Happy, aka Haps, aka Senor Felice. You gotta tell Sly to do that, man. So I've been wondering about this since WoD started. I could have swore there was an announcement that some art for weapons from WoD. Did I just dream that? Is there something they announced but haven't or won't deliver on? They delivered on it already. You can make those weapons using the Allegan Catalyst that you get. They're item level 110. They've been in the game since the Allegan Catalysts were implemented, so you just need to go check those out, man. Alright, next question. Yo, Mr. Haps. Love your content. Keep up the awesome work. Repost from questions from week 41 with Mondays with Mr. Happy, aka Mr. Happy Mondays. Do you think Monk should a little HP increase come the expansion, as in many other FF titles? Monks mainly have slightly higher HP when it comes to other class jobs in the game. It feels like monks at the moment in 14 are amazing. They can maybe use a little bit of extra HP boost. Nah, not really. There's no point. They're never going to use that little bit of extra HP pool. Like, Dragoons have a slightly higher HP pool than the other melees, and I don't know, other than them being, you know, cool and being infused with the power of a dragon, can't really see, you know, the practical use for it. They used to have that extra HP because they had lower magic defense, and now they just have higher HP, the same magic defense, and it's just, I don't know, man. They just got more HP. Nah, I don't see that happening. Do you think they will add non-instance areas or zones from the big overworld maps at all? What are your thoughts? I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a little bit more use for the overworld, but generally, you're not going to see anything Final Fantasy 11-esque. Mainly because, you know, the hunts have shown what it's going to be like to have open world content in this game. Unless it's controlled open world content, force spawned, controlled, who can attack it content, I just wouldn't expect much out of it. There's definitely going to be some things because they're amping up the difficulty of the open world in Heavensward, and they specifically mention a playstyle of being able to go out and be a treasure hunter by going to the beast tribe areas and the certain islands in the sky and being able to just look for treasure chests and loot. And I'm like, there's no way this is going to be a meaningful way of getting gear or anything other than glamour stuff. But they said it's a legitimate playstyle, so we'll see what ends up working out. We'll see some harder areas, more large-scale fates, but I just honestly wouldn't expect anything like super hardcore open world endgame kind of deal. Alright, and the last question I am going to answer. Hi, Mr. Happy. Been a long-time follower. Thanks since before your first Mondays with Mr. Happy video. And finally, I have a question for Mr. Happy Monday. So, first-time asker. Soldiery bonus. Nice. Keep the question part short. Is it worth it to save Rowena's tokens of soldieries, plus unidentified Allegan tomestones, plus Santa times for the new jobs in Heavensward, mainly for glamour purposes? Same goes for Poetics versions, but more for the I-130 head start. I'm going to say yes for now. They've showcased that there are indeed Ironworks weapons for the 3 new jobs. That is an absolute definite. The question is, are Poetics still a thing, or are they going to be removed from the game in some way, shape, or form? Some people have said that in order to gear up your characters, you're going to need these tomestones at level 50. However, it has also been confirmed that the A Realm Reborn main story quests from 2.0 to 2.55 are going to have gear to help facilitate getting through the item level requirements a lot faster once Heavensward comes out. So I guess the question will be, will they just give you a choice of will they give you a choice of an Ironworks weapon, or will Poetics still be a thing? You know, after thinking about it more, I'm pretty sure that Poetics and the soldiery weapons will still be available after Heavensward comes out, but No guarantee. I would say save them. What the hell else do you need them for, right? They're not going to be useful at 60 anyway, so you might as well save them on the off chance that you are going to be able to use them at level 50 for the 3 new jobs. But anyway, guys, that's going to be the last question I have to answer. Apologies, but it's going on pretty long. It's starting to get late here, and the weather is on and off, so I want to get this done and rendered before my power goes out again. But anyway, thank you for watching, guys. Be sure to go check out Green Man Gaming below the stream in the description. You can pre-order Heavensward there for 25% off right now, as long as you use the code that is on Green Man Gaming's website. My code's 20% off. Their code is 25% off. So an extra 5% to save if you haven't bought it already. It is the PC version of the game, non-Steam. That is the version that they have. But anyway, thank you for watching, everyone. My words, I'm stumbling over my words so much this video. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys next week, and until then, take care. Oh wait, now everyone's gonna think that was a lore spoiler thing. Pretend I didn't do that. Bye.